So you join me on my target water in the UK this year, and I've got a lot of history of this lake. I probably first walked around it in 1985. Back then there was probably 1 or 2 20s in the entire lake. Throughout the 80s I fished it quite a lot, and in 1987 caught my first 20 pounder from this lake up the other end. Well, it's been a long time. I've probably not fished the lake properly for over 30 years. And in that time, the carp have grown and become really big. So I wanted to come back to where I cut my teeth as a teenager and catch a big carp that has been here all that time. And what sort of blew my mind about that thing is, during that time I've travelled the world, joined the army, had various jobs, and these carp have stayed in this lake all that time. And in that time they've had jet skis, ski boats and all sorts go on. There's quite a rich history of the lake in this area, and it has had a fish kill. About the late 80s, early 90s, me and a few lads moved some fish from another lake and sort of restocked it. These days, obviously you've got fish farms everywhere, so you don't have to do that. But some of them fish I moved that were like 12, 14 pound, and now the 40 pounders. So this year my target was to come back and hopefully get reunited with one of them fish. I was lucky enough that about 7 weeks ago I caught the big mirror, over 40 pound, and yeah, it was one that I put in here around 14 pounds. So it was really lovely to catch that fish again and meet back up with it. And during this time as well, I've caught some of the original stock that didn't get wiped out by the fish kill. And them fish, they were stocked in 1978, so they're really old carp. And I've really enjoyed my year on here. My target was to catch 30 carp, and I've gone way beyond that, so I'm really happy with what's gone on. So you're joining me on this session. We'll have a little look at what I'm doing, how I've gone about fishing it, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about the lake. So if you look at the lake, it's clear to see that there's a lot of obstacles. Not only have you got the jumps that the wakeboarders use with 25 feet of wire coming off of each end, you've got buoys which give them the lanes to follow. Then if you're going to cast, you've got the wires in the air. Now the rules on the lake is you have to use a bait boat. And obviously they're not going to shut the skiing down all day because some wally anglers cast over their lines. So they insist that you use a bait boat. In this swim particularly, I don't have to because I'm not casting across the wires, I'm going along the side of them. So you can get away with not having a boat in here. But for 90% of the fishing on here, you're going to be using a bait boat unless you're in the margin. So yeah, that's the lake itself. It's always had water sports on it. There's been skiers on here, jet skiers on here, and we've always fished around them. And I quite like it. Although you've got restricted time on here because it's only a Monday and a Tuesday that are maintenance days. So them days you can actually fish. Throughout the week you can only do overnighters. I actually like this. There's 35 members on the lake and you very rarely see anyone. So I've pretty much had 25 to 28 acres of lake to myself for most of the year, and it has been absolute bliss. And in the UK that doesn't happen very often. This place really is an oasis, situated in the heart of Basildon. One side you've got the Festival Leisure Park, surrounded by industrial units. You've got a pub the other end, a hotel the other end. It really is quite a busy place. Once you've shut that gate and you walk into here, you're at an absolutely beautiful water, surrounded by willows, lily pads, and some amazing carp. Let me tell you why I picked this swim. I knew the wind would be blowing down here this week. I looked on my weather app, so I popped down a few days ago and I baited up. I've got down here today, and although it's quite hot, the wind is coming down here like the weather said. And when you get the surface of the water moving one way, the underneath's going to go the other, and the fish will automatically swim into the flow, particularly on big lakes. The only time you won't get that is on small lakes with a lot of weed. But on here there's a lot of undertow, so the carp have ended up at this end of the lake. So I'm just fishing under the arm out there. It's about 20.5 wraps. The water's about 7 foot and it's a flat clay bed. That then drops off into 11 foot. So I'm up on the shallow water, and on a day like today when the water's really warm, I suspect that the carp will come along that back channel and hit my baited area. I've got 48 hours here to try and catch one. As yet we've not seen a fish, but I've got a feeling tonight when it cools down we're in for a really good chance for bite. So the rig I'm using is a slip D, but what I've done, I've tied a loop so I can change the hook after every fish. And the reason for that is there's a lot of nuisance fish in this lake. There's tons of bream, tons of tench, and even worse than both of them, a load of eels. So if you catch an eel and the hook is blunted, you can simply slip the hook off and slip another one on. I'm using size 4s and big baits, and I'm doing that to try and put these nuisance fish off. You're not allowed to use nuts on here, but you can use nut hook baits. So on one rod I've got 3 tigers in a row, and that should hopefully be too big a bait for the bream to get in. So that's the tactics I'm doing. So I've put about 2 kilos of bait in. I've got drop off systems so the lead drops off on the bite. Tubing, because leaders are banned on here, I've got about 2 foot of weighted tubing, then 18-pound line, a nice strong line, because you can see there's plenty of obstacles in here, and if the fish starts to do a long run, which believe me they do, you want to have plenty of strong tackle to hold them. So yeah, you're really beefed up fishing here. Hopefully we're going to hook one while you're here and we get to see what these fish look like, because there's some absolute stunners in here. I have to go down when they come this way. Trying to keep it out from under these scaffold planks. To come across here with a life jacket on, but as soon as I've got the cameraman here, I think I'm pretty safe. And I didn't have time. As soon as I hooked it, it went for them scaffold bars. They know where they're going. Really powerful fish. That's it, go out there. Yes, and we got one. Well, on a really warm, sticky day, I nearly moved swims. I moved that rod up into 4 foot of water, really shallow. And yeah, I was just breaking the net down to bring it back and the rod went, so Ross had to try and put the net up, and we got a lovely, looks like an upper 20-30 pounder.
What was it, right?
23 pound. Well, we've had to work for this one, I tell you. It was 27 degrees yesterday. At times today the sun has come out, it's got just as hot again. And I really did think it was looking like a blank, and the rod's just ripped off. I had to run along the walkway to stop it going under the scaffold. 23 pound, which is quite a small one for in here, but an absolute stunner. So So I mentioned earlier that when I joined the lake it was to catch some of the older fish that were still swimming around, and there was 2 fish particular I wanted to catch, more so the mirror, known as not fatty, which is a strange name, but yeah, lovely big old mirror. Came from a place where it's got some real heritage, a fish known as the Frogmore leather come from the same lake. Anyway, she went into here at about 14 pound, and all these years later, like 33 years later, I've caught her, and I sent it off to the Angling Times, and because I always send my catch reports to them, and it was spotted by the main press. It ended up in the Daily Mirror. They phoned me up and they couldn't believe fish or a carp could live so long, and I was quite shocked when I said like I'd recently caught one over 50 years old, and actually got the name of the lake wrong. It's not like the press to do that. But anyway, yeah, so I ended up catching that fish and she made the main newspapers, so she's a star. 27 and a half. Well, our second fish of the day. Look at that absolutely stunning 27 and a half pound mirror. Lovely plate scales all over her. And this is a perfect example of some of the fish that are living in this ski lake. Still really warm and muggy. Didn't think we was going to get anything today. 2 bites, we'll take that. Let's go in. Back past you for us to get to that net, right? Good fish. On the scalies, definitely a bigger fish this one. Get in there. Too late, we've got ya. Oh yeah. Check that one out. Well, I was hoping we'd bump into one of these. Really old character, this one. Probably almost 35, 40 years old, something like that. Been swimming around there absolutely years. Under all them water sports. Started off in a lake surrounded by fields. Now it's surrounded by Basildon. A proper old relic and a brilliant fish to finish on.